you talked about doing a book on your dad for
Sure.
a lot of years.
Yeah, yeah.
What was the impetus to, like, obviously, whenever you're writing a book,
Right.
you're looking for a theme for that book. What was the
Yeah.
emphasis that made this the theme for you?
Yeah, like you said, I've pretty much been putting down, on papers for many, many years, all the different stories of what it was like really growing up as Gordie Howe's son. Because I just feel like I've just had an amazing life and a lot of great stories that I think people would appreciate. But when Dad passed away in June of 2016, Father's Day was a few days after that, and I woke up on Father's Day and I couldn't hug him, couldn't tell him how much he meant to me, and I thought, wow, what could I do for him? What could I still give him even though he's not with me anymore? And in body at least, and I thought, what would be better than to get down on paper everything that he stood for and everything that he meant to me as a father. So that became my singular focus, and was the genesis for the book.
Now, for those who haven't had a chance to pick up the book and read it, why don't you tell us the title and then...
Sure. So it's 9 lessons I learned from my father, and obviously the title had to have number 9 in it because that's our favorite number, in Dad's honor, and it probably should be titled 999 Lessons I Learned from My Father because there's really so many great things that he taught all of us kids, and but I had to pack them into 9 chapters, so that's what we did, and I probably had 900 pages of material, and thanks to my editor at Penguin, Nick Garrison, he was able to help me to whittle it down to a crucial 240 pages. And it wasn't an easy task because there was so much to my dad that's so amazing that I would love to share, but that would be a pretty heavy book at 900 pages.
Coffee table book.
Yeah.
Now, what are the 9 lessons that you decided to include?
Well, so let's see. I'm a little sleep deprived right now, so I'm not sure I can remember all of them. But we'll start off with be honorable, be humble, be patient, be selfless, be tough, play hard but have fun, treasure your friends and family, treat them like gold. Probably forgot a couple, but anyway, that's most of them. But Bob, if I can summarize them, it really kind of comes down to that what made Dad so different, what allowed him to impact so many people, was that he gave everything of himself at every moment. So there was no stone left unturned in terms of how much he cared about people and how much he reached out to people. And it really had nothing to do with what he achieved on the ice. That really wasn't what made him great. What made him great was how much he gave of his time, talent, and treasure. So all the lessons that are in their book really boil down to giving of yourself as fully as you can, and never underestimating the impact that you can make on others just by giving everything that you have.
I remember one story you told me that, I don't know if it's in the book or not, but
Yeah.
it was something that really stuck with me. When the day you decided to tell your dad that hockey wasn't going to be your life's career, and you told me you're a little bit terrified to have to go to the greatest player in the history of hockey and tell him, I don't want to follow in your footsteps. What was that moment like?
Yeah, it was challenging. As you know, I pretty much dedicated my life to being a pro hockey player, and so much so it came up to Toronto to finish out my high school career there. And so when I tried out at University of Michigan as a walk-on, it was a tough challenge. I made it down to the final 5 out of 60 walk-ons, and then was unceremoniously cut. And it was a crushing blow. I mean, I had never thought about that moment coming, and so I was so choked up that I couldn't wish the boys well, which I wanted to do. So I just wrote on the board, "Good luck, guys," and then I stepped out into a brave new world. And you're right, I was pretty much in a daze as I walked towards the door. I'm saying, well, what am I going to do now with my life? And what are my parents going to say? How are they going to respond to the news? But they just instantly put me at ease, and they said, well, thank God we don't have to worry about you anymore, and at least you'll have time now to study if you want to pursue pre-med curriculum. And because that was a big worry for me. The team had pretty much said 3 out of your 4 classes you're going to miss your Friday exams, and we don't know how you're going to do it. And so I wasn't sure how that was going to shake out. So it closed a huge door on me, but it opened so many others, and I was very thankful that worked out that way, so that I was free to pursue my other passions, which ended up giving me just a great career that I love as much as my dad loved hockey.
Which, for people who don't know, why don't you tell them what it is that you do today?
Okay, so I'm a diagnostic radiologist, and I specialize in sports medicine imaging. So I do musculoskeletal imaging of MRIs and CAT scans, ultrasounds of knees, shoulders, any joint or body part that's injured. So I'm able to help athletes by diagnosing their injuries, and then we triage them to the sports medicine docs or to the orthopedic surgeon to get repaired.
This on.
Okay. No worries.
Okay. I'll just get the rest of it. I can't imagine what it's like to grow up where everyone's idolizing your dad, but to you, he's dad. He's Gordie Howe, but he's dad. He's not. Obviously, he is the greatest hockey player in the world, but still, to you, he's so much more than that.
Yeah, and it was really, I lived almost a fairy tale existence growing up, because not only was my dad amazing, but my mom was equally amazing. She was the first woman sports agent, and she ran for Congress. She had started a travel agency. She started an insurance agency. She created the first junior hockey program in the United States. She did so many things, and she was just phenomenal. So to kind of grow up in that, I was just always surrounded by people wanting to meet my mom and meet my dad and spend time with them. And it was wonderful for me to see, because my parents were so gracious, and anybody that wanted to meet them, they could meet them. They could come out to our house anytime and find my dad out in the yard, raking leaves. And they were so gracious that way. They just put everybody at ease. So it was really, really fun, basically, anywhere we were, because my dad would just make sure that it was a cool moment for everybody involved. And he had a trick up his sleeve, a magic trick for any kids, or he'd hang them upside down by their ankles and bang them on the ground, and just give them a headlock or an elbow, and make sure that they got a good chuckle. And he'd spend all day with you, if you needed to. And so it was pretty much like having your own superhero to carry around with you, and it was a lot of fun.
I remember Sid Abel telling a story one time, how when you're a kid and you're playing road hockey, you say, I'm so-and-so and I'm so-and-so.
Yeah.
He said he was going out to the car one day, and the neighborhood kids were playing road hockey, and they're all yelling out, I'm Lindsay, and I'm Sawchuk, and his son, whose dad is the captain of the Red Wings, announces, I'm Gordie Howe.
You're never a legend in your own home. That's something I learned, except for my dad. He's probably the only one where we still wanted to be him. And I am very serious when I say that I was very honored to ask my dad for his autograph. And I don't know many people that can say that about their parents, but I had that much reverence, in awe for him, that I literally did pinch myself to say, wow, he's my dad. I was just as much in awe of him as any of his most loyal fans. And really, I was in awe of my mom as well. They were just remarkable people.
One of the stories you do tell in the book, which is really touching and almost probably hard to believe for other people to hear, but where you're talking about when your dad came to you and asked you, am I a failure?
Yeah, that was pretty shocking. And again, I think I was 10 or 11 at the time, and you always assume that your parents, they know all the answers. They got it all figured out, and especially somebody like my father, who seemed so happy and well adjusted and so focused in his goals and everything that he did, and so for him to pretty much sit down with me and say, am I a failure? I almost fell off of his lap. And but I think even the strongest of us, we can have times in our lives where we just have some pretty big hits. And he had recently lost his mom. He had retired from the Red Wings, and I think he was just in a tailspin of saying, what am I here for? What is this all about? I think that happens a lot when we lose a parent, especially. We start thinking of our own mortality and why we're here, all those important life questions, and that was definitely going through his head, and pretty much all I said to him was, wow, I can't think of anybody who has impacted more people and brought a smile to more faces, and think of the gift that you have, that all you need to do is say hello to somebody or sign an autograph, and you've made an indelible memory for them. And what a phenomenal gift. And you have done that because of all the investment that you've made, up to this point, through your excellence in athletics and excellence in everything that you do. And I don't know if he believed me, but I think he seemed to feel a little bit better afterwards, and seemed to slowly come to realize after that his role was not to be Mr. Hockey, the greatest hockey player of all time. His role was to just be a hero for everybody, and it didn't have anything to do with him having to score more goals. He was done with that phase. He just needed to be himself and just be a hero for people by how he treated people, and that was more than enough.
Yeah, you mentioned you specialize in sports medicine, and that's kind of enabled you to help your own family as they dealt with their injuries that they incurred over the course of playing sports for a living.
Yeah, it's so satisfying to be able to give back to somebody who's given you so much. And for both my parents, I've pretty much spent my life trying to pay it forward for all the kindness that they have given me, just like the kindness that so many people showed my mom and dad when they were young, when they really needed it. And so it's been so rewarding for me to be able to help them. As the baby of the family, sometimes it's hard to do anything to contribute back to the family. And so to be able to help my mom and dad and my siblings and other friends and loved ones, that's been really, really rewarding, and it allowed my father and I to become much closer than ever before in our life. Really, that last year of Dad's life, when he needed me most for so many different things, but especially medically, it was so rewarding to be able to help him to navigate that process of kind of going your last year of kind of slowly going downhill into the sunset, and doing that gracefully.
I can remember one of the first times I ever interviewed your dad was when I was working in Saskatoon, and it was right after that horrific plane crash here, and he was talking proudly about how you were one of the medical people who was involved in helping the young girl that survived that crash, so that he was so proud of that.
Yeah. My parents often argued about which side of the family I came from, because I was the first one to go to college, and it was kind of fun, and also just they did take great satisfaction knowing that I had found a niche that brought me so much joy and could help so many people. And for us as children, all they ever wanted for us was to be happy and to pursue our own goals and dreams, and to use those passions and talents to help others. So yes, they always were very, very excited about having a doctor's son.
All right, I should record those first couple things again, just to make sure
We
the
can
sound
do
quality
that.
is good.
Absolutely.
So first of all, let's start on the title of the book and what it's about.
Yeah, so the book is 9 Lessons I Learned from My Father, and it's really, um, well, Dad passed away in June of 2016, and a few days after that was Father's Day. And when I woke up on Father's Day, I was crushed that I could not hug my dad or tell him how much he meant to me. I always made a big deal about Father's Day. I would always plan out something that he loved doing, going golfing or fishing or a hike or whatever. And I would make sure that he knew how much he meant to me and how much I appreciate him as a father. And so when I couldn't do that, I thought, wow, what could I give him, even though he's no longer with me in body, that could still honor him? I thought, what would be better than to get down on paper everything that he stood for, and what he meant to me as a father and who he was as a man. And so that was really the genesis for the book.
Tell people what it is that you do for a living now.
So I am a diagnostic radiologist, and I specialize in sports medicine imaging, so musculoskeletal radiology. I read a lot of MRIs, CAT scans, ultrasounds of knees and shoulders and any other injured body part. And so I help a lot of athletes get back to full potential. I work very closely with the sports care program here in ProMedica. Dr. Roger Cruz, who's been the Olympic head physician for the U.S. Olympic team, and so he sees a lot of the Olympic athletes. They fly in and we look over their imaging, and then I kind of tell them what's going on, and then he helps them get better.
When any of these athletes hear your last name, do they put 2 and 2 together very often?
Usually the technologist or whoever sees them interfaces with the first will give them a heads up that that's Gordie Howe's son that's going to be doing your examination, and so that's a big thrill for them. And of course I'm thrilled to be taking care of all these amazing athletes as well. So I try to get as many autographs as I can from the skaters and hockey players.
If your dad was Mr. Hockey, does that make you Dr. Hockey?
Well, I would love to think of myself as that, but my dad always said, don't read your own press clippings, you'll start to believe them. So I just feel like I'm just a regular doc.
Now, when you mentioned the title, tell us some of those lessons that you did learn from
Sure. So there's 9 of them, and I'm a little sleep deprived, so I don't know if I can come up with all 9. But it's be honorable, be humble, be patient, live generously, play hard but have fun, be tough, and treasure your friends and family, and be selfless. I'm not sure if that's 8 or 9, but anyway, I'm close. But if I can summarize those 9 lessons, it really comes down to the dad's greatness. Well, I should just back up. Dad just seems to be set apart from almost anybody that I know in terms of how much of an impact he made on people. And at Joe Louis Arena, we had 15,000 people, came to say goodbye to him. They flew from all over the world, literally from Russia, as far away as Russia and Europe, to pay their respects. I thought, wow, what makes him so different that he can impact people in that way? And what I think those lessons boil down to is that he cared so much that he basically gave everything he had every day, every moment, to each person that he could. So he made a moment for everybody. Anybody that met him never forgot that. And all those lessons, I think, end up you can summarize them as saying, give of yourself in all those things. Be as generous as you can. Be as humble as you can. Be as patient as you can. Be as honorable as you can. Be the best person that you can be. I hope that everybody that reads this book, that one of the things that they come away with is being inspired to be the best version of themselves that they can be, and realize that they can impact others greatly just by being the best version of themselves.
One of the stories you related to me was the day you had to tell your parents that hockey wasn't going to be your future, that you weren't going to follow in the footsteps of the greatest player ever lived. And I imagine that must have been a little bit I don't know, maybe it's even terrifying to have to go to your dad, who was the greatest hockey player in the game, and tell him, yeah, I'm not going to follow in your footsteps.
It was, and even though my parents didn't put any pressure on me to play hockey or to do anything, I still wanted to make them proud, and especially wanted to live up to my dad's reputation as an amazing athlete. So I had dedicated the first 18 years of my life to being a pro hockey player. Came up to Toronto and played junior hockey, of course, with Gretzky and Paul Coffey and several other future NHLers. And despite all that effort and hard work, when I tried out for University of Michigan, I was cut. We had 60 walk-ons and got down to the final 5, and then I was one of those final 5 that got cut, and I was so crushed that I couldn't wish the players good luck. I wanted to just wish them all a great season, and I just couldn't speak. So I just wrote on the board, "Good luck, guys," and then walked out, wondering, wow, what am I going to do now, with my life? And yeah, what's my dad going to say? And so I walked back to the dorm and I called them up, and they just said, well, thank God we don't have to worry about you anymore. And they said, now this is going to open doors for you. You're going to have more time to study and pursue your pre-med classes. I had no idea how I was going to pull off the pre-med curriculum as a hockey player. The team had said you're going to miss all your Friday exams because we're on the road a lot, and that you probably shouldn't take most of the courses that you're enrolled in right now if you make the team. So that took a little pressure off me, and it worked out great. And Mom and Dad have been the beneficiaries of my medical expertise for the last 40 years.
And you alluded to there, your hockey claim to fame. You're the one member of the Howe family who played on the same team as Wayne Gretzky.
Absolutely. For more than just a couple games for a series. Yes, absolutely.
That was with Seneca Nats, I believe.
Correct, Seneca Nationals. Yeah. One of my greatest memories was Wayne setting me up. It was probably in the first week of the preseason. Wayne just lofted a pass through to me. I was just bolting down the slot, and he just found my tape, and boom, it was in the net in no time. And what I remember about that goal the most was that Wayne was more excited about that goal than even I was, just because he was such a fan of my father. So he was